Hello, this is Lana of the Lana Vishnu Orchestra. I am here to read the story of space opera. The Hargavan ship hurtles through space, bending space itself to allow travel much faster than the speed of light. This is a trick of physics their people learned 15 lifetimes ago, and it has allowed them to travel vast distances, to learn to live in space. But this voyage is different. The goal? Further than they have traveled before. The reward? The potential of meeting others who have mastered interstellar navigation. The Hargavan Scientific Institute has identified clear signs of life, markers of civilizations. This small crew of engineers and specialists have signed on to the challenge of reaching that region. If successful, these young recruits would return home having spent a significant portion of their life traveling, waiting, meditating to slow their biological processes, in quarters just large enough to not be uncomfortable, on a ship as small as possible to make its energy budget work. All this in hopes of verifying the existence of these civilizations, meeting them, and learning from them. And so, finally, after many cycles, they arrive. Almost immediately, the ship alerts them of a potential danger. A cosmic rift of some sort is in their path, and the gravitational waves it is emitting play havoc with their ship's systems. They manage, at the last minute, to engage the hyperdrive and speed away from the danger. Not a good omen to nearly be destroyed immediately after having arrived at their intended destination. They disengage the hyperdrive, looking for any other signs of danger. However, upon re-entering normal space, almost instantly a golden spherical ship appears. It doesn't arrive, it just appears. Well, it seems the Scientific Institute was right. This is clearly a physics trick more advanced than the Hargavan systems of propulsion. The Hargavan bridge crew receives a signal from the other ship, a video transmission. The bridge of another ship appears on the view screen. These creatures are far different than the Hargavan. The Hargavan stands steadily on 4 feet. These creatures are bipedal. Their heads are large and soft-looking with patches of shifting colors. They have tentacles instead of arms, and short tentacles around their mouths that move as they talk, presumably. A clearly mechanical voice is included in the transmission, speaking something initially unintelligible, but eventually they learn to communicate. The other ship, the Shalon, delivers them a device. As with the ship, the device simply appeared, first on the Shalon's bridge, and then just as suddenly on the Hargavan's bridge. It provides translation, the Shalon assure them, to all the civilizations they will encounter in this region. It seems the Shalon are the diplomats and keepers of harmony. Ah, the bureaucrats have come to greet us. A list of expectations of behavior, norms, and standard practices is transmitted. Speaking of other civilizations, the Shalon continue, you will no doubt be meeting the Gornile shortly. The Gornile will be as aware of your arrival as we were. In fact, they will be more informed after the conclusion of our discussions, as we will be sending them a summary and assessment. A diplomatic representative is being formed for you now. A group consciousness with several Shalon participants is currently being briefed. This will be the Hargavan Shalon, the standard naming convention for diplomatic purposes, and future diplomatic interactions should be performed through them. The device we provided you will also allow you to reach out to them, or other Shalon collectives, as well as other civilizations as you meet them, and they provide you with appropriate contacts. The Shalon entreat the Hargavan to follow the guidelines provided and enjoy their visit. They end with a bit of a more ominous note. The Gornile are old, powerful, capricious, and gruff. When you meet them, words of advice. Be honest. The Gornile view deception as disrespect and have no tolerance for disrespect. Remember your place. You have no standing here. You are guests. The Gornile have been here since before your species invented language. Pardon us if we underestimate your lineage. We're just assessing your level of technology and extrapolating. And with that, the transmission ended and the Shalon ship simply disappeared. The Shalon seemed to have a knack for insulting you politely. The Hargavan continue on, investigating a variety of star systems, taking scientific readings, and they meet several other spacefaring civilizations. The Hargavan would have assumed them to all be much more advanced than them, but it seems they use much more advanced technologies provided to them by the Bell. These other civilizations refer to themselves as being the Youngers, and comparable to the Hargavan. The Bell are the most advanced civilization in the region, and are reputed to be post-biological. The Gornile and the Shalon have both been around longer, especially the Gornile, but the post-biological nature of the Bell have allowed them to perceive time in much finer slices than the biologicals. Thus, they advance at a much greater pace and are essentially the ancients. All those the Hargavan have met revere the Bell in an almost, or perhaps more than almost, religious way. As the Hargavan ship is visiting yet another star system, without life, but scientifically interesting, the time has come. A ship, large, dangerous looking, and right in front of the Hargavan vessel appears. It's disconcerting that the ships around here just appear. They were somewhere else, and poof, now they're here. This time, however, instead of a transmission on the view screen, a representative of the Gornile is standing at the front of their bridge, giving them the once-over. The Gornile are beautiful, sublime beings, and terrifying. The Hargavan have ancient myths, long outgrown, describing celestial beings, angels and demons. The Gornile seem to be both. They appear predatory, seeming to stalk you as they float around, black wings spread wide. And then casually, languidly, they positively dart across the room, and you find yourself face to face with a creature of immense power, asking you pointed and uncomfortable questions they clearly expect honest answers to. Nonetheless, after a bit, the Gornile on the bridge appears to relax, become more jovial and less confrontational. The Shalon were right, they say. You appear to be fine. You're a lot like the Youngers we know. A bit less cultured, which is to be expected as you're here with only your own technology and without peers and elders who have refined your manners. And yes, we know where you're from. As with many planets here, we visited your system and installed protections around your planet to fend off catastrophic impacts, deadly gamma ray bursts, and crippling solar storms until you reached the point where you would have come to detect these protections. We figured at that point it was your job. Now that you're here, the Gornile said, we wish you a nice visit, but have a list of conditions you will need to have the Gornile Shalon and the Hargavan Shalon reach agreement on. And by reach agreement on, we largely mean that the Hargavan Shalon will need to agree. So again, have a nice visit. And by the way, when are you going home? Before they could answer, the Gornile was gone, and shortly after, so was their ship. As the Shalon had instructed, the Hargavan immediately contacted the Hargavan Shalon. Some initial guidance was offered, with the long and short of it being they should assent to the terms of the Gornile. Think it over and get back to us when you have decided to do the sensible thing. Now, this was a bit of a problem because the terms of the Gornile made it clear that this was a temporary visit and not some extended house guest overstaying their welcome kind of situation. As this was the only chance these Hargavan would have to make this voyage, turning around and going home after such a brief visit would have been a huge defeat. They would be too old to return here again, and asking another crew to commit to such a long voyage to meet the same fate, unthinkable. And they had only just finally met advanced spacefaring civilizations. So they mull it over, trying to find a way to extend to their visit. But it's not long before the Gornile indicate their impatience with the Horgovan's stalling tactics. Terms were offered, and yet they have not formalized their agreement. An angry Gornile on the bridge, eyes glowing and arcs of electricity pouring from their body, makes it clear the situation cannot continue without an agreement very soon. The Shallan advised the Hargavan to lay low until they decide to be sensible. Go visit Velok, a beautiful moon with the most beautiful night sky. It's a treasure, and it is a sanctuary protected by the Bell. When the Hargavan arrive at Velok, they discover it is also home to a monastery for a non-theistic religion. They are welcomed by the religious leader of the monastery, and provided with lodging and an open invitation to explore and learn of the culture of the place. The cleric also provides this advice: seek out the Bell and consult with them. They are wise and should be able to offer you some guidance. The Shallan, as much as they think they're a moderating influence on the Gornile, are frankly somewhat dependent on the Gornile. The Shallan role as diplomats and negotiators is largely the result of requests from the Gornile. So while the Shallan are trustworthy, they are not going to be some kind of strong ally against the Gornile's demands. After a short visit on Velok, a world as beautiful as the Shallan had said it was, the Hargavan ship departs to the Bell's constructed planet, orbiting a white dwarf star. And this was no ordinary white dwarf. While essentially a dead stellar remnant, and no longer powered by fusion, it is rich in neon-22, which means that it will maintain a habitable zone billions of years longer than most such stellar remnants. The system has been cleared of all debris, and given the fact that the Bell operate many thousands of times faster than the biologicals, this is something that will likely last longer than any of the civilizations in the region, as close to forever as is possible to imagine. The planet appears to be made of an extremely dense material, at least at its core. So while small, it has a gravity comfortable for the Hargavan, and the density of the planet has been engineered such that it maintains similar gravity even deep underground. Clearly, the Bell are extremely long-term thinkers. Given this level of planning, it is easy to surmise that this is not the only such star system and the only such planet the Bell inhabit. Their instantaneous travel and communication technology means that they could have all of this replicated into a redundant network, archived, backed up, and immune from any catastrophe. If anyone was going to have an insight into what the Hargavan should do, it would be the Bell. The question is, will they assist the Hargavan? Several Hargavan take a shuttle to the surface of the planet, find it with a breathable atmosphere, and covered with both plant and animal life, as well as huge machines covering its surface. Machines that the Hargavan can't even guess at the purpose of. A small monolith appears in front of them. A door opens, and a chamber inside beckons them. They enter, and are transported underground into a huge facility filled with machines and light. A console appears in front of them, speaks to them in Hargavan, and asks what they seek. The Bell have constructed this non-sentient avatar to communicate with them and relay their questions to the Bell, who are nowhere to be seen. Post-biological seems to indicate that you simply deal with constructs, and the Bell wait until you've finally asked your questions, and they have provided you with an answer. The answer the Hargavan receive surprises them. The Bell tell them of a device they have already encountered, nearly catastrophically, the Cosmic Rift. It is actually a portal to a pocket dimension the Bell are constructing. The rift is simply a protection against meddling and intrusion. The dimension would reveal things the Bell would not want to share with the biologicals because the knowledge is too advanced and too dangerous for them to know, given their current levels of understanding. Unfortunately, the dimension is currently inimical to the Bell, and neither they or their standard technologies are compatible with that dimension. They have been unable to modify its structures to accommodate them within it. They need a biological to assist them with the adjustments. But again, the civilizations here would be put at risk by knowledge of its contents, and even among the youngers, strife would be the likely outcome of the Bell choosing one of them to provide this assistance. Luckily, the arrival of the Hargavan, visitors with no standing, and the Gorniles' stringent requirements hanging over their heads, has provided a potential resolution. The Hargavan are less advanced than the youngers in this region, so they wouldn't have the slightest idea what was going on in there. And if they were to accept the mission to assist the Bell with this project, the Hargavan, provided they were successful and survived the mission, would have earned standing in the region. They would have the backing of the Bell, and the demands of the Gornile would likely be made moot. The Bell detail this risky plan to the Hargavan, and the Hargavan agree to attempt it. Risky, yes, but it is the only way they can establish themselves here. The Bell equipped the Hargavan ship with a number of advancements to help ensure success, including a device to trigger the portal, and the Bell's instantaneous travel mechanism. The Hargavan are also given a device described as a stabilizer, specially constructed to be able to survive for a time inside the portal. Inside the dimension, there is a nexus the Hargavan will connect the stabilizer to, which will carry out the necessary changes. The Bell will accompany them to the rift and be there to provide whatever assistance is needed, provided the Hargavan are able to return from inside the portal dimension. Upon arrival, the Hargavan commander orders the portal device to be activated. Instantly, it becomes a large spherical surface, showing strange currents and eddies of energy below the surface. And the interface of the portal appears as if liquid, shimmering. The Hargavan set course for the interface and cross into the portal, ripples appearing on its surface as they enter. Inside, distortions sound like an echo chamber. The view screen shows a swirling mass of energy and matter, with a glowing central structure emitting something that looks like plasma. The instrument readings make little sense, but the plan is put into action. A shuttle is launched to deploy the Bell's stabilizer, and a probe launched to collect samples for the Bell to analyze afterwards to gauge success. When the stabilizer is activated, dramatic surges of energy are seen. The pressure on the hull is immense, and emergency power is allocated to shore up its structural integrity. A massive energy buildup is detected, and it's going to be more than the ship can take, even with all available power allocated. Time to go! Racing to escape the portal, they are buffeted and rocked by waves of energy and spatial disruptions. They escape through the portal to normal space by a narrow margin. The surface of the ship is sizzling, arcs of electrical energy and jets of plasma leaking into space. But they survived, and the Bell indicate they were successful. Once their ship has been repaired, with the Bell's assistance, the Hargavan arrange a meeting with the Hargavan Shalon and the Gornile Shalon. It is agreed, and a Shalon ship appears at the appointed location, as does the Hargavan ship. The Hargavan and the Gornile arrive in the negotiation center. The Bell have also sent a construct to advocate for the Hargavan. The Shalon officiate, conducting the negotiations in a combination of high Grelic and beautiful Shalon singing, I guess you would call it. As the Bell have predicted, all parties are satisfied by the new conditions. If the Bell have been so assisted by the Hargavan, who accomplished this mission at great personal risk, it demonstrates them worthy of standing. The negotiations are quickly completed harmoniously, and the Hargavan are welcome to travel the region at their leisure. The negotiations are complete, and the Hargavan are welcomed by the elder civilizations. The Bell have one more gift for the Hargavan. The Hargavan and the Bell construct return to the Hargavan ship. This is an important moment for the Bell. Their plan is to use the pocket dimension to explore other universes and other states of being. They have little left to learn in this universe, but the deeper structure of reality still holds mysteries the Bell want to explore. So, for this occasion, the Bell have, as a civilization, slowed their perception of time to that of biologicals, so they could, via their construct, attend this gift ceremony. The device they give to the Hargavan contains the wisdom of the Bell, and allows those in contact with it to understand Bell symbols. This is wisdom that the monastery on Velek, and its many followers among the Youngers, view as a religion. The first lesson the Hargavan learn from the Bell Compendium of Wisdom is an old tenet of the Bell, from before they were post-biological. Knowledge is a worthy pursuit for sentience, but knowledge alone is a dead end if it isn't coupled with wisdom in measure to the knowledge gained. Knowledge without wisdom is a road to oblivion. Together, they offer the possibility of enlightenment.